DJ Lil create vibes now.
Welcome to another episode of the Get a Love Like Mine podcast. We are your humble hosts. I'm Keisha Amos. This is my beautiful husband, Sam Amos. This is part 2 of our blended family series. So today we have all our sons with us. We'll start with the oldest. You can go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Jamon.
Jamon. And how old are you?
21.
21. And then we have
Steven, aka Swaven. I'm 20.
And we also have
I'm Tyson. I'm 7.
all right, Tyson, he's 7. Okay, well, this is season 2, episode 7. Last week we had the girls on the show discussing their perspectives and point of views on blended families. So we want to get the boys' perspective, and we'll start with the oldest. Tell us, how did you feel? One, how did you feel when this family started blending? And then how do you feel about blended families in general? Because we know that you're part of 2 blended families.
Well, this blended family was pretty cool because we'd always end up doing stuff. Like every summer we'd do stuff, and it kind of just brought everybody together really easily. And as for blended families as a whole, I feel like they're cool, you know? I mean, you can never have too much family.
Not bad. That's good. A good perspective. What about you, Mr. Swaven?
I can kind of piggyback off what he said about us doing activities together. That brought us together quicker, if anything. And then having another brother, you know what I'm saying? Now he got 2 older brothers to look up after him and to play with him and do stuff with. And then our other little brother now on the opposite side, another blended family, is pretty cool. Pretty much the same thing with him, you know, playing with him and bringing him up with us, and we get along well with them too. It's pretty cool.
That's good. That's good. What about you, little fella? How do you feel about your siblings coming every other weekend? How do you feel about that? Do you like it?
Yes.
All right. Well,
do you guys ever feel like you have a responsibility, so to speak, because you have younger brothers, especially you, like all your brothers are younger than you, but like there's a huge age difference between, like y'all are close, but between y'all and him, and then y'all and your other brother on the other side, I'm sure y'all know that everything y'all do, they watch and mimic. Like he tries to mimic you, everything you do, even down to your hair. You know. So, do you feel a certain kind of way knowing that I'm kind of like a role model to this guy, even though he's like, you know, my family?
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
It's really cool to have somebody look up to you. Like my friends look up to me and stuff like that, but it's even better when you have a little brother that look up to you.
What about you, little fella? Do you like having older brothers, or do you wish you were the oldest and they were younger than you?
I wish I was the oldest.
Okay, so let's say you were the oldest. What would you do different?
would you be a role model for them?
I don't know.
You just want to not be the baby, huh?
Yes.
Well, what about having older sisters? Do you like having sisters older than you? Or do you wish y'all were all the same age?
I'd rather have sisters that are older than me.
How come? What? Why so?
Because
Okay, I'm listening.
They take care of you?
I would probably be would I be the oldest in this situation?
No. You said you like your sisters older than you.
Okay.
Right.
He had really thought that all the way through.
All right, well, as we stated, he's 7, so we're going to take a brief intermission to let him out of here. Okay, we have gotten rid of the 7-year-old. So today we want to talk about a topic that we feel like we can relate to the boys on, which is online dating. And this was a topic you brought up, so I'll let you introduce it.
Okay, so online dating is something that is new to us. It wasn't around when we were dating, right? But
It was around when we were dating. It wasn't around when we were.
well, it came in,
Yeah.
you know. But like when I was in my 20s, there was no online anything.
Right.
So I can recall when online dating kind of first started moving in, and it was one of those things. It was looked at in a dark, kind of a not a good light, because it just seemed, I guess, kind of risky and dangerous or whatever. But now, as it's been around and there's more sites to go to, there's way more, not just dating sites, but social media in general is where a lot of people see each other. And so it's really more accepted in society now. So I would assume that you guys, you know, have some type of interaction with online dating or meeting friends that way. But we looked at it like it wasn't all great, because people would, I heard horror stories of people posting old pictures, and then when you meet them, they don't look like that anymore.
We call it catfish now.
Catfish?
Catfish.
Okay. So yeah, I didn't know that. So you learn something new every day, right? And then the other thing was, really, people would be dishonest, I guess is the best way to describe it. And they would really talk themselves up. And, you know, they talk like they have this great job and great place where they live and all this money or whatever, until you know, finally meet. Which would make me wonder, if I was going to go that far and be dishonest about myself, I don't think I'd ever want to meet you. But I guess that's, I don't know, that train of thought. But maybe you're just lonely, and, you know, you could hope to, you know, they would overlook some of those things. So we'll start over here and tell us kind of the experience, if you had any experience with either dating or meeting people online, if it was good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah, well, first I agree with you. In my opinion, I'd rather meet the female face to face. Right, I see you. You know what I mean. No fake pictures, nothing like that. But it's also like you were saying, how, you know, everything is on social media now, Instagram, Twitter, and stuff like that. So, you know, if I see somebody that happens to look good, or a familiar face, maybe she went to school with somebody I know, or friends with one of, you know, somebody that I know or something like that, then it's different. And, you know, we kind of DM each other or whatever, and kind of, you know, talk, exchange numbers or whatever. And FaceTime, that's one of the first things, like, okay, you know, we introduce each other, you know, stuff like that. FaceTime, so I can actually see you, you know what I mean? That's like one of the first steps. But as far as like a dating app, I'm not really into that. I wouldn't move toward that direction. But yeah, I'd definitely rather meet the girl in person than off the app.
I think FaceTime probably would cut out a lot of foolishness, right? Yeah. FaceTime's not bad. Video chatting is not bad. As bad as, like, we'll just use Instagram. Like, you can post pictures of yourself all day long, or post pictures of somebody.
Right.
You know, whether you can pretend to be who you want to be.
Yeah.
So I think FaceTime cuts a lot of that out. What about you, young fella?
Well, I'm with him on having to be in person. I like personal interaction more than like on the phone, really. Sometimes it's more convenient. Other times, you know, it just has to be done in person. I feel like you also can tell how a girl like gravitates to you in person more than over the phone. she could easily be faking over the phone. But like in person, you can see the emotions for yourself.
Yeah, you can tell a lot about a person more so in person. Like just in a text message, you can misinterpret the tone of a text message.
Right.
You know, if you have one idea in your head, like let's say she uses all caps, then you thinking, oh, she yelling at me, but she might just be excited or anything. So it's real easy to misinterpret the tone of a text message. I could only imagine you could also misinterpret things, tweets. You only get 160 characters. I don't know about DMs on tweets because I'm not on Twitter, but anything written is easy to misinterpret as opposed to your face-to-face interaction. Have either one of you ever been catfished?
No.
No. Honestly, no. Never. There's this one. Thank God. But honestly, there was this one time. It's the closest I got to a catfish. She just kept taking pictures with filters, and me and my friends know her. And we were like, "Can you please just like take a picture of your normal face without a filter?" And she was just like avoiding it, so we just kind of left her alone.
Wow.
Yeah.
You see stuff like that all the time though. Like on Instagram,
like
people get catfish. They make like funny videos about it and stuff like that. But never been in that position.
Yeah.
Filters are a good way to catfish somebody.
Most definitely.
I've heard a lot of horror stories of people pretending to be something that they aren't. Especially when it comes to men, their biggest thing, maybe not the looks, but the weight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you meet this chick and you might have thought she was slim and curvy, but then she informs you, well, that was a picture from about 8 or 9 years ago.
That made me think about on Friday when Chris Tucker said, "You said you look like Janet Jackson. You look like Freddie Jackson." Oh my goodness, that's too funny. But yeah, but men do the same thing. They use old pictures or pictures of them when they were working out and they haven't worked out in 6 years, and then they come with a beer gut. It's all the same. I think back in our day, there was no social media. There wasn't really even an internet. Like when we were their age, that was a luxury that we did not have. But there was a show, the Love Connection. I think that was about the closest you would get to kind of like online dating, because it was like a show where the audience or the show would pick 3 people that you would go on a date with. You didn't get to know what they were going to look like until you went on the date. But things have changed since then, and I know it's not just dating websites. Like I've never been on I think they have Plenty of Fish, and that's the only one I can think of because I know somebody who was on it.
There were some Christian ones too. I can't
Christian Mingle.
Oh yeah.
There's one for cowboys. There's one for everything.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. One of my classmates, I think she met her husband on there, and they're still together. Like they've been married for 20 years.
Yeah. I had a coworker that met at least one of his wives online.
Wives?
Yeah, he's been married, a few times. We're not gonna just throw him out there in the street, but he has. He met a wife on the internet. Well, he met a woman on the internet, and they ended up getting married. Of course, they didn't stay married, and at the time, I guess dating sites was still kind of ramping up, so we thought it was totally ridiculous.
Yeah, back in the day, like it was even on sitcoms, you would see people, they were embarrassed to say that they were on a dating site. Like you were almost considered a loser if you had to go to a dating site.
Like a last resort.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, now when you look at it, people are busy. People have so much going on in their lives. If they really want to focus time to dating and they don't get out much, You know,
it's like convenience now.
yeah, it's more of a convenience. Like, let me put my interest on here. Let's see what this app, you know, brings my way. Swipe left, swipe right. You know, hopefully it's not a dangerous situation, you know, but if you take the danger out of it, then, you know, what's the harm in it? You know, everybody get a good time if you out looking for dating. As long as nobody's married or in multiple relationships. I remember one of my friends, she met a guy on that Plenty of Fish app, and then they kind of were exclusive, so she deleted her profile, but he didn't ever delete his. He kept right on swiping left and right for new people. So you know, I guess that just goes back to the integrity that we've talked about on several episodes. You got anything else you want to talk about for this?
Not about online dating. Just dating in general. Like, it's so much different from, I guess, the manual years when we used to do it. You know,
Definitely.
like I don't know, maybe the safety of it, but I guess people still go to clubs and meet people. I mean,
These guys, do y'all go to clubs?
You don't really have to go to a club anymore to meet a female, or at least, like, you know, like a cool one that's down to earth that, like, gets along with what you like. You find that just about anywhere. You could go run at a football stadium or something on the weekend and find a female. It's just, yeah.
so here's a good question. Name some things that would make a good candidate for a woman that you would date, that you would look for.
Okay, well, first,
If you were building your online dating profile, what would you say?
well, I say hygiene, number one. Gotta have good hygiene.
No stinky girls.
Yeah. What you post, you know, pay attention to, you know, maybe how you dress or who you're with, you know. That tells a lot about a person, the people you hang with, you know. Another big one.
What about how she lives, her appearance?
Well, he said how she dressed and what she's posting, how she appears online.
Right. Like the whole makeup filter thing is one big thing. Like, it's a lot of that and multiple pictures, then it's kind of a turn off. I say aside from like the dating app, but like seeing a girl in person, something I look for. Let's see. There's so many good ones. I say like how she talks. Like how she talks to me. If I introduce myself and, you know, she seemed kind of ghetto-ish, you know, loud. Like she just, you know what I mean? It's kind of wild, like a wild in her tone. I don't know.
Let me tell y'all something. I just have to interrupt. I went to a wedding last weekend. People were giving toasts to the bride and groom. I didn't see who had the microphone. I could only hear her. Oh man, oh, can I cuss?
That's what I mean. Right
I was like, oh my God, his grandmother, his mama, like his godmother, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh, can I cuss? Y'all been down and y'all my N-words and I was like, this is a girl. This is a girl talking like this. And she was like, I wish I could find me a love like this. You're never gonna find it talking like that.
That's to my point. Perfect example, great example. That's a turn off. Can't do that.
Yeah, not at all.
What about you, young fella? What do you look for in a woman? What would make you say, okay, I think I want to holler at her, whether she's online or you just see her in the mall?
First, how she is, like, I like to observe. It takes me kind of a minute to actually get with someone. So, how she holds herself, like she keeps herself, how she holds herself, obviously how she dressed or how she acts around her friends. If you get to the point where you're talking to her and she's bringing you around her friends, how she acts with you around her friends, that's a big one. Because if the female that you're trying to talk to's friends are like kind of blowing you off, she's not for you. She's been talking about you behind your back and telling them some other stuff, and you thinking one thing, but it's really not like that. So that, how she treats me, if she believes in God or not.
That's huge for me.
Yeah, I gotta have a
It's hard to find that too. Not to cut you off.
Really?
Yeah, that was a big one. I missed that one, but yeah.
I know a
The
lot.
real, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
not
yeah,
just
yeah,
saying
yeah.
it, but
Right,
actually,
right,
you know,
right,
You can tell, you can
yeah.
always tell.
That's pretty bad too, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they're probably just a reflection of who their parents made them to be,
Right.
or raised them to be.
Yeah.
So if I'm taking my kids to a church that's bogus, they're not really teaching
Right.
the real thing.
Just going to church.
We can say we win.
We win, yeah.
But you're not getting anything out of it, and definitely your life doesn't reflect
Yeah.
that you even believe in Christ or anything. You can say that's the parents' fault, or as they get older, hopefully that they'll see, like I did. I see for myself, but what y'all are seeing at y'all's age, starting from 18 on up, is really just a reflection of who they were raised to be. So
Yeah.
I can see where, like you say, that's kind of hard to find
Right.
somebody that really believes in Christ like that.
I think it's hard to fake. I think it's hard to fake because
Oh.
God's light is gonna shine through. Like if you really are a believer and you're praying and you have your own personal relationship with God, you can see God in that person. I feel like I can tell when someone, because I have people around me who I don't know if they feel like they need to say that because they know it's me or what the reason is, but I can tell that the prayer that I pray for you is the only prayer that's being said. I can tell you're not praying for yourself. I can tell you're not praying for me. I can tell that you don't have the faith that I have.
Right.
Because you doubt yourself a lot. If you doubt yourself a lot, or you're scared all the time, like that's not a Christian characteristic.
Right.
So I think if they are really Christian, God fearing, that it will come forth. You'll see them. I can't remember if it was one of Chrissy's little boyfriends or somebody's. It was a kid that was with one of y'all that came and sat at our table and said his grace before he ate his food. Like that's something you can see. You can't fake that. That's not something a person who's faking would sit down and do and want to say their grace before they eat their food.
I think maybe faking probably might have been the wrong word to describe what I'm saying. I don't mean they're faking. I mean that maybe their faith is not on the level.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like they'll argue you all day long. Yeah, I go to church, but if you still act like a heathen, we're not taking away the fact that you went to church. But if you hadn't learned anything and it's not changing you to be somebody different, then, like he said, it's hard to find that person that was saying their grace without any, they don't care who's watching.
Right.
Yeah, I just bow my head like, I don't, what y'all think don't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
So you have said the things that you look for in a woman, but what do y'all think y'all bring to the table? Like, what's gonna make that woman say, "Oh, Stephen, he's the one," or Jamal,
That's a good one.
he's the one?
I'm not gonna lie. Not too long ago at work, somebody I work with, a female that I work with, said that I have high maintenance. I said, what does that mean? I thought she was saying I was like a pretty boy or something. So I was like, what does that mean? And another girl kind of like butted in the conversation. They both said like, you look like you take care of yourself. You're clean, your hair is nice. I had my hair braided and stuff like that. She's like, you take care of yourself, you're clean and neat, high maintenance. I said, oh. So the compliment, I feel good about myself. So I feel like, the same thing that we look for in a young woman is what they look for in us. Who we hang with, what we post, how we post,
Exactly.
our body language, how we act, what we say,
Hygiene. Yeah.
Do you pray? Are you
Yeah.
How you walking? Yeah. What about you, young fella?
I would say he really covered everything right there. But just about, it would probably be like how I don't stop. I think that's a good one. Like with anything it is, like I just want to keep, in the back of my mind, I always want to be better than yesterday. And I feel like when you have somebody that pushes themselves, they'll push you. And having, like, people notice that about me. Oh my goodness, you're so this, that, whatever. You push me. So I take that and I run with it. So I think that would be a very good thing for.
So you give her positive energy.
Yes, basically. Yes.
Okay. So let's ask Miss Amos, what do you look for in a spouse that would make you say? Because we discuss these things all the time in our podcasts, especially when we get to relationships. They always kind of end up on the same topics here and there. So we always bring in this word, irreplaceable. You make yourself irreplaceable, hey man, nobody can replace you.
Yeah, how is he irreplaceable? That's a good question.
He wants to know, how am I irreplaceable?
Yeah, or what did you see in him that was like, you know what, he's that
There you
guy.
go.
So I tell this story all the time. The very first conversation I had with him on the phone, I felt at home. And I know you probably don't get that because you guys are young and haven't dated a whole lot of people, which I didn't date a whole lot of people, but the few that I dated, I never felt so comfortable as I did with him. I felt like this is where I'm supposed to be. And I felt it before he did. So don't put your head down now. I felt it before he did. I felt like, just from the first conversation, like we had so much in common. At that time, my dad was a barber. My dad had been a barber for years. And I used to tell him, I kind of think about opening a business. I wouldn't mind opening a barbershop or something. And he was like, I cut hair. I cut my boy's hair. I cut my own hair. I was like, for real? I usually sit in the bathroom and watch my dad cut his hair. And he was like, yeah, it was just so many things that we had in common. But as I got to know him, you guys know I was married before, and I used that as the kind of bar of what I knew I needed. Like the first time I got married, I didn't know what I needed in a husband.
Right.
But after getting what I got, I knew those were not the things I needed. So I was able to, get a good list of things that I needed. And one of the main things I needed was, I'll put a slash, it's loyalty/security. Like, I need to know that even if we have a fight, that you're still going to be there. That you're not going to just walk away and give up. Like you said, you keep going. So that was one of the main things that I needed. But my husband is so sweet and considerate and giving. Like, I look at him just give stuff to people. Like, he'll meet somebody and they're like, well, I need a coat. Oh, I got a coat in the closet. He'll just give it to him. Or, I look at how he buys things for his sisters. Just might see something, a pair of shoes or a bike or, something. And you just say, I'm going to get this for my big sister, whatever. I look at his relationship with his dad. His mom was deceased before I met her, but I look at his relationship with his dad and how he is attentive to his dad. He checks on him and, make sure he's doing well. And, they shoot pool together and talk. Like, sometimes I act like I'm jealous of his dad. I'm like, your dad is your best friend. I thought I was your best friend. But I look at those characteristics. I look at when we pray, how he prays for all of you guys. How he stands in the gap for each of us, anytime anything is going on, how he just is so considerate of everything. And even when he has the weight of the world on his shoulders, he always has a smile on his face. Always. Right. So he's he can always bring like if your energy's down here, all you gotta do is look at him, smile, and your energy will come back up. So he listens to me. He's learned me. He knows me. Like if I'm super busy at work, I can come home and he's made dinner already. That's the type of thing that makes him irreplaceable in my life. Like he takes care of me. I remember when my dad passed away. You know, I was his only child, so everything fell on me. I was trying to plan the funeral. I was trying to get his house clean. I was trying to do everything. I didn't even remember to eat.
Wow.
Because I was so busy. I didn't even really have time to grieve. But Dad, like, let me go in the bathroom, ran me a bathtub full of water, let me just sit in the tub and cry until I got enough of it out, made sure I ate. You know, he just took care of me. He just takes care of me. So he has definitely made himself irreplaceable in my life.
Aww. No, I saw before, it was a video that went viral. I can't remember if it was the father that said it about his daughter, or it was the daughter that said it. But one of them was saying, the message in the video was that the daughter, whenever she's dating a guy, should feel like she's with her dad, because that's how comfortable she is.
Mm-hmm.
So that sounds like what you were saying about being comfortable around him and just talking to him and stuff like that.
They say that, you know, you hear the phrase daddy's girl or mama's boy. They say that the dad is the girl's first love, or mom is the little boy's first love. A lot of little boys, especially those who grow up with no dads in the household, they are so attached to their moms that it's almost like mom is a girlfriend. Like, you know, they get jealous when she does start dating and things like that. But if your dad is treating you right and you're a daddy's girl, of course you're going to look for the characteristics that make you love your dad in your husband.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you answer how your wife is irreplaceable to you? And then I got a question for the boys.
Man, I don't even know where to start or finish. So many characteristics that, like, even for men, man, find a way to make yourself irreplaceable to somebody. It's an awesome feeling. But my wife, she's so determined. Her determination is like her biggest strength. But she's like an octopus. She has 8 arms. She can do so many things at one time. She doesn't back down from doing anything. She doesn't procrastinate doing things. She didn't know she was business before pleasure until I brought it to her attention. Like, you know, we can't even go to have dinner until I finish what I'm doing on the computer. When she's engaged and locked in, you can forget it. She's gonna get the job done. Like, she has more drive and determination than most men that I know. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, those are just things that I've learned about her. Like, we dated for years and I never knew how smart she was. And it never came up that, oh, I'm a straight A student. And then
I asked him, I said, did you think I was stupid?
No, I didn't think I was stupid. But I guess how often do you ask the chick you're dating, like, what kind of grades did you make? Like, it just doesn't come up.
Yeah.
And then Granny, I told Granny, I say, you know, you never told me your daughter was this. I didn't know she was this smart. She's straight A's. She goes, oh yeah, and my son, he's smart too. He made straight A's too. Like, their brains are exceptional. Like, going through law school, man, the things, man, I'm telling you, I got some pictures and stories for the law school journey, man. She did that, like, you just don't even believe it, man. I'm looking at her read these books this thick and remember what's in them.
Right.
No, man. Normal people don't do that, cuz. Come on, man. Somebody joking with me. But aside from that, like, she took my kids in like they were her own kids. She spent more money on y'all than I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could go down the list. I mean, we're not gonna sit up and talk about how well she cooks or her hygiene and she keeps her hair. I mean, man, it's just a super long list of things, but she's always the same person every day. And I could never understand the way she grew up, how she turned out the way she is. She grew up with some of the lousiest friends you ever saw in life. I don't even know how y'all would even group together. And she was nothing like them.
Wow.
But I mean, it's just, man, the story I can make a series of stories just talking about my wife. Like, she's completely irreplaceable. And what's crazy is when you find that person. Now, there's different things that are going to determine when you get there. Like, you're gonna have to be mature in your head, right? Because I got homeboys, y'all know him, that he done dated 1 million women. And I know in that million, he done threw away some good ones. Trying to see who behind them or who was the homegirl.
Yeah.
But, see, you gotta be mature enough to know when this is a good one.
It's a good one.
And when I need to cut these other ones loose.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You'll miss out on life. See, we talk about this all the time.
Right.
You don't know, if you don't know there's a 6th gear to click in, you'll ride up the freeway in 5th. You don't know that your love life can be up here.
Yeah.
If all you've ever seen, your neighbors, your parents, your friends, people, your co-workers, your classmates, they were all down here. So you figured, oh, well, I'm at least here. I don't know there's another floor to this building. Until somebody explains it. We never knew our relationship could be like this. Like, the girls asked, do y'all ever argue? Great question.
Yeah, great question.
You know what I'm saying? Because for Marie, she's not here all the time. Right? She come over periodically. So y'all may be arguing in the times I'm over there.
Right.
And then when I come here, y'all done made up and everybody getting along. I'm only here for a few days. But the answer is, here's somebody live with us all day, every day. You ever seen us argue?
No.
You ever heard us argue?
No.
We don't argue. People will make you believe, oh, that's normal.
That's normal. Everybody argues.
Everybody gonna argue.
Yeah, you hear it all
No.
the time people say that.
No, they don't. You do.
Yeah.
You might argue.
Yeah.
But we don't have to argue. It's not necessary. Most of the time, I miss my wife so much every day. I don't have time to argue with her. Over what?
Exactly.
Now, I may ask, you know, I may ask periodically, when are you coming home? You know, because so I get my mind wrapped around. If it's a long day for you, I need to be ready for that. And don't be sitting peeping out the blinds at 1 when you're not going to be here till 6. So, but other than that, man, I'm telling you, you'll be around people, and I'm talking about old people too. People older than me, and they think they're giving you good advice. Oh, kid, don't worry about that. Arguments gonna come. Everybody got that. That bad advice, good. That don't come with it. It does not come with it. It's not built in.
And like we told the girls, we want to tell you guys, part of the reason that we don't argue is because we communicate. You know how you hear people say communication is key, communication is the most important thing? Most arguments stem from misunderstandings.
Right.
Like, I'm mad at, or I have an issue with something you did. I don't really know how I feel about it. You ever heard the phrase, I feel a way? I feel a way means I don't really know how I feel, but I'm feeling something.
Yeah.
And instead of me being able to communicate that to you, I just fold my arms and get an attitude. And now you like, what's wrong with you? Nothing.
Yeah.
What's wrong? Nothing. But if I would just open up and say, look, I don't really know what I'm feeling, but what you did made me feel something, and let's talk about it and then get to the bottom of why it made me feel that way, or why you felt the need to do whatever it was that you did. And then we didn't have an argument. We just had a discussion, and we have moved on. Nobody's mad. Nobody's sleeping on the couch. Nobody's, calling the girlfriend because they mad at what he did, So the biggest bit of advice we can give you guys whenever you find the one or somebody who you think is the one, be willing to communicate. Don't go to bed angry. I'm not saying you have to talk while you're angry, but first you should pray and ask God to calm you, and then just communicate and tell them whatever it is. And if she's one of them who won't communicate with you, let her know that you're a safe place for her to communicate. Because sometimes women are in relationships with guys who won't let them talk, who won't let them express themselves, and then they get with you and they think they can't express themselves. So let them know that, you're a safe place. Whatever you're feeling, let me know so that we can work through it. I don't want you to have to fight through this on your own, because sometimes that's how women feel. But my question that I was going to ask you guys is, we were talking about the guys the dad being the girl's first love and mom being the boy's first love. Do you guys look for characteristics that you see in your mom when you're dating?
Absolutely.
You
One
too?
of those being is like, how do you, like, nurturing? I guess that's the word I would use. Like, the way they care for you. Like, if I don't really see that, like, my mom did that a lot. She would care for us a lot. Like, she treated us almost like kids, like babies all the time. And it's not that I look for that. I look for, like, hey, are you okay? Hey, have you eaten? Hey, like, are you alright? You need somebody to talk to. That is amazing to have, just there for you. Yeah. And sometimes you may feel like you can't go to, like, certain people for certain things, but this person is always here for you. Like, it's just really cool to have.
What about you, Mr. Lee?
I feel like that's a big one. Having somebody feel like they care for you, definitely look for that. Something my mom always does with me that I want my girlfriend or wife or whoever to do with me is, if I don't say anything, will you say it? Like let's say I look like I'm having a bad day. Will you come to me and bring that up, and check on me and see how I'm doing without me saying anything? Like, hey, I'm feeling down, like you already noticed that,
You want somebody to get to learn you.
Right.
No, you see.
That was my issue with my first husband. I knew he loved me, but he didn't know me to the point where when something was bothering me, he could not tell that I was upset or bothered. But, I can take responsibility and say I should have just been able to communicate that to him and say, hey, I'm having a bad day, or, but sometimes you just don't want to talk, it's good to have somebody. That's how your dad is for me. He can look at my face and see what's wrong, or, he'll just ask, how was your day, or whatever. And I can tell the same thing about him, because like I said, he's always smiling. So when you see him and he's not smiling, or he's sitting in a room and the TV is not on, he just sitting there. It's like, what's wrong with you? What's going on? What's in your head?
So, any more questions from you guys? Because I got one last thing I want to say before we. Are we going? Have we done our things, or are we going to go into our thing?
If they have a question, we can do it.
Do y'all have anything? You do? Okay, so let me say this one thing, because I said it when I was talking to the girls. I'm gonna say it to you guys. Okay, so I have this issue that I need you guys to just be mindful of. Just remember Dad said this. Okay, so like you're 21, about to be 22. He's 20, about to be 21, and Chrissy is 18, going on 19. So all y'all are really, really young. So at this point, like, she and I pray for you guys whether we know where y'all at or not. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, Jamal will be here, he might not be here, his car here, he not here, or his car not here, your car not here, you at mom's, wherever y'all are. We don't know where you are, but we pray for you anyway. Like if the weather bad, whatever it is. So up until this point, you know, we pray, God, just keep my kid safe wherever he is. All three of y'all have had incidents that we had to go back to God and say, God, thank you for keeping my kid. To me, I don't want to pray that prayer. There's been too many times. He's in a car accident, could have killed him. Chris has been in 2 car accidents, could have killed her. We had to say it both times, right?
Yeah.
Like, you guys were out, I said this when I was fussing with my wife about what happened. I said, hey, look, when you're out having fun, the end of the night, all the airbags shouldn't be out of your car. That's too much fun. You know, hey, tone the fun down a little bit. We don't want all the airbags out of the car accident. And then you had the incident where you doing your business, selling your product, you come up on a criminal. Luckily, he was just a dumb criminal, not a violent criminal. Because he could squeeze the trigger on you and left you laying in the street, right? Am I right? But he didn't. But we had to go back and say, hey, man, God, thank you for keeping my kid. We don't want to have to keep praying, God, thank you for keeping my kid. Now, we're not going to stop praying for y'all. That's not why I'm saying this, but I'm just saying, man, you guys, we've had that come up too many times between the three of y'all, and y'all are so young. So, you know, just kind of keep that in mind when you're out and it's time to make a decision. Should I ride in this car full of people or should I drive my own car and follow y'all? Things like that, you know, that keep you out of a bad situation. But anyway, let's move on.
I told the girls this. Be sure that you are praying for yourself before you go out, before you travel anywhere. Because you will not understand the level of anxiety that a parent feels until you actually have children. And your kids want to be grown. I mean, you guys technically are grown, but nobody has their own house. So I don't say you grown until you got your own house and you're paying your own bills. So you guys want to be grown, and we're fearful that you're going to get pulled over by the police. The police are going to do something to you. We're fearful when you're riding late at night that a drunk driver might hit you. We're fearful that you might be the drunk driver that is not used to drinking and decided to try it and just wanted to get home. We're fearful of a lot of things when it comes to you guys. So that's why we pray and ask God to keep his hedge of protection around each of you as you travel. So we're asking that you be sure to say your own prayer before you travel. And thank God when you make it home safe every night. Because it is a blessing that everybody does not get to experience. But we told that to the girls, so we just wanted to tell you guys too. So you can do your Ask the Amoses.
So is this directed me, her, or both? Both? Okay.
It's actually a fun question.
All right.
If you had one meal to eat for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I'm gonna have to go with Popeye's chicken.
Really?
That's about the only thing I can think of.
I was not expecting you to say that.
You probably thinking of something with some rice in it, I'm sure.
No, I was thinking you was gonna say some shrimp because you love some shrimp.
Well, I mean they're so close. But
or some fried fish or something because you eat that all the time.
See, you named 3 things right there. He said one. You know, it's hard to pick one.
Yeah. I don't know what mine would be, but I know it would be some Mexican food, so it probably some fajitas or something like that. Cause I can just eat meat.
Okay, you gotta pick one, chicken or beef though. You can't just leave it open.
I only eat beef. I don't care for chicken fajitas. They're dry to me. I prefer beef.
Okay, Young Fella, your turn.
I can't think of a question. Really, my biggest question was what I asked of what made him the one, and then you answered that too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good. All right. Well, that is the end of episode 7. We hope that you have enjoyed meeting our blended family. If you're not already following us, be sure to do so on Facebook or Instagram, Get a Love Like Mine podcast. If you have a question that you would like us to answer on the podcast, you can send us an email to getalovelikemindepodcast@gmail.com and put Ask the Amoses in the subject line, and we will be sure to read your question and answer it on the show, totally anonymous. And that is it. Happy Sunday.